Hey everyone, it's Jake Clark here on the Fargo 3D printing show today. We got John and Eric. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about CES and what we're going to see. So it's Monday right now, and we're actually going to go down to CES tonight, or down to Las Vegas tonight from Fargo, and be there all week covering different things from CES, looking at new printers, virtual reality machines, Oculus. I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, it should be good.
So what we're going to do in this podcast is we're going to actually cover some different things that we're going to try and hit at the trade show. And then next week, we're going to actually talk about what we saw. And so today is going to be a little bit shorter than our normal ones. And next week is probably going to be either a one-part or a two-part or a really long one podcast.
It's probably going to be, either, like Jake said, it's either going to be really long. Even if we'd split into two parts, it's probably going to be really long. So pretty much everything that you're hearing us speculate on, you're going to end up hearing this probably on Thursday or Friday when CES is pretty much over and we're still going to be there. So things are going to be sort of a week behind. So then next week,
more details.
Next week we'll have a ton of details. This is just kind of the overview.
You'll get our point of view.
And pictures.
Yeah. So one of the first things we're going to look at, this was just announced today. It's the world's first 3D electronics printer. So this is called the Voxeljet, and it's a really futuristic looking 3D printer. It looks really nice. It seems like Autodesk is really working hand in hand with these guys.
Yeah, I didn't see much. I guess I didn't see a whole lot of detail about it, except they're partnering up.
Yeah, so they're partnering with Autodesk to develop a new design tool called Project Wire for creating 3D electronic devices printed on Voxeljet's platform. So the example that Voxeljet used is being able to 3D print a quadcopter with all the circuits already built into it. So you're still having to put your battery and your motors in there as it's printing, and that's the way it was described, is you have to be putting parts into your model as it's printing. So I'm not entirely sure how that works, if it pauses at certain points you can drop a component in, or what happens, but it allows you to not need a wiring harness when you're getting everything hooked up. You just have the wiring all set up already. So it uses dual print heads. I think it uses, let's see here. So one, it's either PLA or ABS plastic that is in a cartridge on the underside of it.
It says PLA.
Oh, so it is PLA. So PLA, and then
the conductive stuff.
Yep, has a conductive silver ink print head. It says a limited release of the developer's kit will be shipped in late 2015. So this is definitely an early stage product. And I think it's going to be, it's definitely going to be interesting. There's a lot of people that use 3D printing quite a bit for quadcopters and even just hobbyist electronics. I know we talked a little bit about 3D printing circuit boards last week.
This one actually prints the circuitry, not just the green part, which I can't remember the technical term.
Not just the PCB.
Yeah.
So it will actually print your conductive parts as well.
So your actual traces, I believe, is the more engineering term. But
I took a SolidWorks class once. That's as far as I got.
But yeah, it prints as it goes to it. It looks like. So that's interesting. I guess I don't know. I wouldn't use it per se in my line of work.
Well, you and I don't really have projects that would use this. We don't really work with electronics or circuits or anything like that outside of pre-built machines.
Yeah.
But it looks like a slick piece of hardware.
I can imagine it being
nice
super
silver,
cool. Like if you're into that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or if you like playing around with Arduinos or the Pi, Raspberry Pi, stuff like that.
If I had more time, I would, but I don't have enough time in the day to play with that kind of stuff.
I think between just the way that it seems like they've already printed a functional part. So it seems like they already have something that's working, and then having this partnership with Autodesk. Autodesk has a lot of resources that it can throw at something like this. So I think that it'll become an actual viable product, not just a concept.
Yeah.
Well, what was Autodesk's?
The Spark.
No. Like they had a program where you could submit. I wonder if that's part of this.
Oh, like a partnership program?
The Spark Fund?
Yeah, I wonder if this was part of it or
Well,
not.
so it says that to strengthen this effort, Voxeljet is collaborating with Autodesk on Project Wire, a Spark-powered design tool for 3D printed electronics. So it seems like it's built on the Spark platform. I would be extremely surprised if they either haven't received funding or they aren't very actively participating in the Spark platform.
I'd be surprised too.
Yeah. So the other thing that we were looking at today, this is something from Makexyz. It's a chocolate 3D printer. So
They also make the Da Vinci. Is that correct?
Yeah. So they also make the Da Vinci, which is a really inexpensive 3D printer. We've had some hands-on time with it. It's kind of cheaply built too. A lot of injection molded components that break fairly easily. But
it's a Taiwanese-based company, isn't it?
Right. I mean, they have the resources to develop a lot of stuff. So they have this thing called it's just a 3D cookie printer. They call it 2015's Easy Bake Oven.
So does it not really have a name yet?
I'm looking for that.
I didn't really see one.
No.
I think it's just called the XYZ 3D food printer.
Okay.
So really, you're not 3D printing. So you're 3D printing chocolate, but you're not. It's not like you're creating chocolate candies.
It's pretty much like what you would do, like a person dressing a cake.
Right. You have a cookie substrate, and then you have it's basically a plunger that's mounted on the gantry system, and in this plunger, it's on a screw, so it can control how fast or how slow it's extruding the chocolate, and then it's
cookie dough.
Depositing it.
It can also do cookie dough.
Oh, that would
so
be
you can
awesome.
actually print cookies. I don't know how thick, but there's a picture in the video that was attached.
Yeah. So I guess
Showed one cookie.
So I guess looking at this, it's not chocolate, or it's not true chocolate. It's cookie dough and cake icing.
Okay.
So cake icing, it doesn't appear that they're doing any heating of this. It's a very viscous liquid, and it's being squeezed out of a plunger. It says that it won't be on sale until the second quarter of 2015. So I don't really know who this is for. I mean, unless you're like a specialty cookie place and you deal with
Need to
novelties.
crank out the same thing a
Muffins?
million times.
Well, I don't even think it's that you need to crank it out, because doing this by hand would be so much faster. I think it really is just the novelty of, oh hey, this icing on here was 3D printed.
There was the one comment that I saw from someone named Marcia Lenart. Sorry, I don't see the advantage here. Am I missing something?
Yeah.
That's the only comment.
But I could put frosting on my bread, Eric.
Or you could probably put it on your hand too.
Or I could just get a spoon and just eat the frosting.
Get like henna chocolate.
But I could just eat the frosting
imagine
out
it.
of the thing. I mean, that would work too. Just sit. Well, I mean, I don't.
I wonder if you could actually just stick Nutella in it. But
I don't know. I mean, do you think they're going to have proprietary chocolate icing cartridges? Or do you think it's going to be user refillable?
I'm guessing you'd have to.
It would have to be user refillable.
Would it though?
I don't know.
I mean, I think it'd be pretty easy to hack if it wasn't.
What's a plunger?
Just get it the right temperature, or consistency. Just
Or
add
you
water
can
or
just
something.
just go to the bakery.
You could put something else in there, like imagine tuna casserole or.
Oh,
I'm not saying I would do that.
Ooh,
'cause
it could be a better
No,
sandwich maker than a
I was just
candy
thinking like
just-
gross stuff. That's the first one that popped in my head.
Just because you can't extrude it doesn't mean you should. I mean,
But
let's
Is that the third rule of 3D printing?
I
or
guess
something?
just because it's extrudable does not mean you
should print with
extrude
it.
Yeah.
Could make tuna
But
casserole.
sandwiches,
like,
John. But
Yeah,
sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Okay, so now kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum from this cookie 3D printer, you have 3D Systems released a video last week that shows how 3D printing how its speed can be increased by a factor of 50 times in mass customizing items.
This is not FDM though. This is
This is multi-jet printing,
Yeah.
I think. So the way that this works, I think we'll have the link to the video in the show notes.
It is on our Facebook as well.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is pretty incredible to watch go. The best way that I can describe
They
it is
said racetrack technology.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what they said.
It's a what?
They said it was called racetrack technology.
Yeah, so
I don't know
basically,
if that's a technical term.
basically you have this little metal sled that is on a racetrack, and instead of the print heads going over the top of each of these little slabs, the slab goes underneath the print heads. So it's adding one color, then another color, then another color, then another color, and it keeps on doing that. So you can have 50 different sleds all going at the same time, because one of the things that slows down 3D printing is when the print head has to slow down, stop, and then speed back up, go back across the substrate, slow down, stop. It's all that time wasted in slowing down and then speeding back up so it can go back and forth over the substrate.
It's like Henry Ford's assembly.
On crack.
On
Like
steroids.
Like this is, I mean, you're probably looking at $1 million plus in something like this, because, well, I mean,
more than that.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at just standard multi-jet printing,
That really freaked me out too. That little effect they did, because I thought it was like, what's that white stuff? Like, oh, okay, it's After Effects.
because the just the regular multi-jet printing, like to get started
That's already
with that,
expensive.
yeah,
It's like
$60,000 for a starting point.
to begin.
But one of the things that it says here is you can deposit 4 billion drops of material per minute. Now, that's not just on one slab. That's spread out over many different slabs. But, I mean, this thing is nuts. So Google's Project Aura, they're trying to figure out, okay, how do you do this mass customization? So Project Aura, it's a modular cell phone, and you can have the shells on all these electronic components customized to look however you want. Now, this high-speed 3D printer can do photorealistic prints. Like, you can make the
really
colors
good.
arrange so it looks photorealistic. So you can completely customize the back of your phone. So no one else is going to have a phone, not just based on the internals, no one else is going to have a phone like you, but based on just its exterior look, no one is going to have a phone that looks just like yours.
And they said that this was also modular, so you can make it essentially as big as you want, as long as you have the room for it.
Yeah,
I think that's what I understood anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean it's once you've got the principle down with the racetrack, it's just a matter of expanding it.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading an article this morning that said that actually Project Aura might not be using 3D printing.
Well, it probably won't to start out.
I mean, that's what I was reading this morning, that Project Aura wasn't going to use the technology, but I mean, it's still...
Well, and I don't think it'll use it right away, because I think Project Aura just needs to get off the ground and prove that, hey, this works. But I think eventually, like a year or two after Project Aura launches, which I think might be late this year, early 2016, then they can break out the mass customization side of things. Make sure that the electronics work first.
So did you see that Ultimaker? Their new 2 printers that they released today?
Yeah, so that's something that we're definitely going to check out at the show.
Sorry, I'm going to start changing gears.
No, that's fine.
CES
And,
2015.
and Robo 3D. Those are 2 that I want to check out, because Robo 3D is kind of like on your XYZ side of things as far as cost. It's kind of like XYZ meets Lulzbot.
Oh.
So I'm curious.
Yeah. So
Let's start with Ultimaker. Sorry.
Yeah, so Ultimaker, they just revealed 2 new printers today. So they still have their Ultimaker 2, which is as awesome as it's always been. And then they have a larger version, which adds 4 inches to the Z-axis, which I think takes it to a total build height of 10 inches. It's either 10 inches or 12 inches is what it brings it up to. I think your X and Y build volume is still the same. And price point on that is just over $30... I want to say it's just over $3,000. I think the Ultimaker, as it is, I think it's $27.99 or $28.99. It's somewhere in there. And then you have the Ultimaker Mini, and this, I don't remember what the official name is, so it might not be called this. But the smaller version of the Ultimaker, they don't, or at least they haven't said what the build volume is, or at least not in anything that's been published yet. But the price point on that is going to be $14.50. So that's going to be a pretty darn competitive 3D printer. I mean, Ultimaker at a price point which is, I think it's about half the cost of the Ultimaker 2. Or it's close to half the cost of the Ultimaker 2. Being able to have that is going to be pretty incredible. And then it's going to give the Lulzbot Mini a run for its money. Now, the advantage the Lulzbot Mini has, and I think it's also being unveiled again at CES. I don't know how many times they can unveil it. Did they do anything with it
since we had our hands on it?
I think they've just had more time to... to get
It'd be more like the software side of things, probably.
Yeah, more on the software side. Because I've been following... So, Lulzbot is developing its own version of Kira. I've been following that, and they've been releasing a new version of it every 2 to 3 days. So, they're really cranking out the updates on that.
Wow.
But the Lulzbot Mini, you can just work with that many more materials. Ultimaker, it's pretty restricted to... ABS and PLA, and it has a Bowden style extruder, which means the extruder is not right next to the nozzle. It's actually mounted on the back of the printer, and then it pushes the filament through a tube. So it has its advantages and its disadvantages. One disadvantage is if you're working with a more brittle 3D printing material, it's not that you can't print with it. I think you just need to you need to print differently.
I'm surprised you
with
can
it.
get as much torque on the, I don't know if torque's the right term, that much pushing power on the filament with one of those systems versus a Lulzbot.
I don't see why not, because it's just pushing versus pulling.
Yeah, but I mean, think if you're trying
how long it is.
Well, yeah, just think if you're trying to push a tube through a
garden hose,
through a piece of PVC. It's like, I don't know. It just wouldn't seem like you'd have as much force at the nozzle.
I don't know. But I mean, like I think you need to think of it more as pushing a piece of PVC pipe through another piece of PVC pipe, because if you're pushing, like for example, with the Ultimaker, I don't think you're ever going to be able to print in NinjaFlex. You can't because
no,
there's too much. There's too much.
Yeah,
well, there's too much wiggle room for the filament to be moving around.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is
Okay.
Well, but if you're talking your
styles,
ABS and your PLA and
no, but I'm talking about the driving mechanism themselves. If you compare them side by side, which one's actually putting more force into the nozzle to push the filament through?
Well, apparently,
is Ultimaker using...
I mean, apparently the Bowden style extruders work just fine, or else they wouldn't be as popular as they are.
No, but I mean, how much force does it take to push it through? That's what I'm.
So you think it would take more energy?
I think it does,
okay.
but
I don't think it does. I think it's going to take about the same amount because you still, even on the lull spot, you have to be pushing it into the nozzle. There's that much back pressure from the nozzle, and you're still pulling it through a plastic tube. Yeah. You have your filament guide that there's still that friction from the tube. I don't think it's any different. It's just in a different spot. But I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say one way or the other. I know that there's the two camps. There's the direct drive, and then you have your Bowden style, and they both seem to think theirs is awesome, and they both seem to work. So that's great.
I just remember I have those notes.
Everything is awesome.
I'm gonna grab that.
Thanks,
totally
Chris Pratt. Appreciate that.
There's some funny quotes.
Oh, Robo 3. Let's talk about Robo 3.
Well, you know more about that than I do.
A little bit. I don't know much. I just follow them on Facebook.
So I guess what I know about Robo 3D, when they launched as a Kickstarter project, I didn't think that they were going anywhere.
Well, they have.
I know that they have. I know that they have, but the Robo 3D, this came out around the same time that you started seeing 3D printers every other day on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. It's like, I mean, seriously, every 2 or 3 days there was a new 3D printer project. And the thing is, a lot of the 3D printer projects would make such unrealistic claims for what the machine would be able to do. The people that were on the team didn't know what they were doing. It was basically a money grab. It was almost to the point of it being a scam with how many different 3D printers were on there. And I thought Robo 3D was just another one because it has a unique design to it, but
it's plastic. A lot of it's plastic. Let's be honest. It's manufactured overseas.
It seems to work. It seems to work. I mean,
God, I don't want to click on that. You dumb son.
I mean, their process seems to work just fine. It actually looks like a similar setup to Lulzbot.
Oh yeah.
Where your X and Y moves, and your that's just
your
the gantry
moves
moving, and your bed
forth.
moves along the Y axis instead of your gantry moving over the X and Y axis like a MakerBot does.
Not great to try. Let's look.
What are you trying to look?
I don't know. I'm just trying to find. I'm trying to see if they have what they recently did, because their new machines actually looked.
Just go to 3dprintingindustry.com, type in Robo 3D.
So while you're looking for that,
I'll race you.
I found this. I mean, I had it already. I guess you guys must have got this in the mail, but it talks about CES. Has a bunch of stuff in here. It has all the dealers listed, which you can look out on the website and actually find what you're looking for. Do you find it?
I'm gonna beat him.
Somewhere it has some funny stuff, like the way they talk about 3D printing. I can't remember which one I wanted to read first. Yeah, this one talking about the conference tracks. Are you guys just doing the 3D printing stuff, or did you guys?
So we're just doing.
Wasn't on 3D Printing Industry. It's on 3dprint.com.
We're just doing the show floor.
Okay.
Because I mean the keynotes really aren't anything that we're that interested in.
We've heard most of them.
Like the 3D printing industry stuff. So if you're looking at the conference tracks, everything that's going to be talked about in there, it's already stuff we know. I mean,
that's more for like the layman or the press.
Well, I think it's more for someone else there may be an executive in a company and they're trying to learn more about 3D printing. It's like the conference that we went to in Pittsburgh earlier this fall.
Very good conference because there's a small amount of people. We were the only ones there.
As far as 3D printing?
As far as 3D printing companies.
We're the only ones there.
We were.
It's not a good conference.
No. I mean, it was
it was a solid conference. They were the people that were there were genuinely interested in 3D printing and wanted to know more. It wasn't, I'm just going to show up to this conference just because I kind of, I just want to know a little bit.
I mean, the tickets to go to attend that was not cheap.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't, because I mean, we've been to some conferences where, to get in, it's maybe $100. This one was 10 times that, the Pittsburgh one.
It's like $1,300.
And so there you have your executives, you have your CEOs, VPs of different companies.
That'd be a good one where you hand out business cards. Like that'd be that kind of
networking, because that's actually where we got to meet Stretchy Bracelet. What is his name?
Oh, Emmett.
Emmett, yes, that's where we met Emmett. And I mean, I think we'll be attending their San Diego show later this year. At least we're planning on it.
You said it was on 3D Printboard?
Yeah, 3dprint.com.
Oh, 3dprint.com. Although that's the same company that does 3D print.
And I think they acquired a forum. They had a cool announcement.
Who?
3dprint.com. They just acquired another forum or something. I saw.
Here we go.
You gonna look up Ultimaker? So
Yeah, I want to see if they have the dimensions.
Robo 3D unveils 3 new printers. I mean, they look nice. Not gonna knock them on that. They look pretty sexy, actually. Let's just be honest here. But I mean, one's a 1 cubic meter printer for around 10 grand.
Who?
Robo 3D, the R Mega.
1 cubic meter.
1 cubic meter.
That's a big printer.
Well, for 10 grand. But I mean, and dual extrusion. But I mean, I hope this one's
Just
there.
what on earth are you gonna print?
Giant lawn gnomes. And then obviously they have a mini coming out in the 5-inch range. And then I'm not sure what their R2 is all about. $1,500. Maybe it's a redesign on their current one, but all these pictures are renderings. There's nothing that's actually a real product. So I'll see one if I see one. I'll see it when I believe it, kind of thing. But I mean, with 1 cubic meter, I mean, you could.
That's a pretty good size.
You could make chairs.
Yeah, but it's just it comes down to
you could make so many coffee cups.
Yeah, but how long is it going to take to do that?
Days.
I mean, you're looking at literally days to 3D print a chair. Even if you use a much wider nozzle and you're just shoving plastic through the darn thing, it's still going to take an incredibly long time to do that. I mean, I think I'm more interested in just the R2 and the R Mini. Those actually look like functional printers.
They're just all, I mean, there's something different about them. I mean, if they work differently, I mean, single nozzle, multiple materials, I mean, right? I mean, the Lulzbot Mini is, well, I mean, granted, so this has a price point of $400.
That, I mean, you kind of get what you pay for.
Yeah.
400 is like really.
The R Mini, is $400 for a 4.5-inch cube build volume, 1 nozzle.
Just getting up here, got a little bit of a runny nose.
Oh,
Yes,
I thought you were so upset that this machine was coming in at $400. You just wanted to walk away.
Well, I'll get till I'm actually back in front.
Yeah, quit picking your nose over there and get back.
If you're not familiar, we're from Fargo. It's like negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and if you step outside, your nose like
What's
sticks.
The wind chill?
You breathe in through your nose, and it sticks to itself.
Negative 25 to negative 50 wind chill today.
Wind chill.
Don't just no.
You guys don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, we're going to Vegas, John.
Yeah, it's gonna be 65 and sunny.
Hey, that's shorts weather.
We're gonna be sweating.
Yes, actually, we will be. So.
Okay, are we done talking about Robo 3D?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to kind of go with whatever you want here.
All right, so something else that was interesting, 3D Systems today announced that they acquired Bot Objects. So if you're not familiar with Bot Objects, this is a full-color 3D printer. The way that it works is it takes multiple, I think it's basically CMYK, so cyan, magenta, white, yellow, and black. And by combining the filaments in different ratios, it actually changes the color of the print. So you're able to print in full color. Now it looks more like you see the gradient, like you see the color gradient.
You see where it switches.
Right, you see where it switches over. But the fact that it does that is pretty incredible. So 3D Systems, they're going to start selling it in the second half of this year. I think they're going to have a limited release early this year. We're going to see if we can get in on that. We already have one person who wants to buy it. So, yeah. So, the price point...
News to me, Eric.
The price point on that... The price point on that...
Well, and to give a little bit... Sorry.
...is $49.50. Let me...
Well, then finish.
Here, I'm going to... Here, I'll pull more information on it.
Well, while you're doing that, I mean, because the actual... So, the bot objects that they bought out was under a lot of scrutiny, or it was under a lot of conspiracy that it actually wasn't a real company.
Oh, Bot Objects? Well,
yeah. I think I read about that on TV.
Yeah, they were like, oh, this is a joke. This is one of the Kickstarters that's a scam.
They keep making these big claims, and there's nothing to show.
Yeah.
So
they did a bunch of back research saying it looked like just like bad business.
I mean, 3D Systems must have done their due diligence. I mean, I know that they acquire a lot of stuff, but this is, I mean, good for Bot Objects. I mean, if they're able to,
maybe that's one reason why it was in the dark was they didn't want to get.
They're keeping it quiet.
Yeah, they wanted to keep it quiet, and then 3D
Systems just kept their mouth shut.
Well, and it's nice, and so this is something that we're definitely going to take a look at when we are at CES. We're going to get a lot of video of this machine actually running, because it says here, while terms of the agreement were not released, those still suspicious about this technology can see it in action with their own eyes at CES 2015. So they're calling this the Cube Pro C full color 3D printer. So
what's the C stand for?
The C looks like an old
color.
apple.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it says the original Bot Objects ProDesk 3D printer will be folded, and the Cube Pro C by 3D Systems will emerge, offering a true full-color printing experience at a price tag of just $49.90. So I was a little wrong with my price, but here, here's the other, interesting
Wait,
part.
what price did you say? Just
I
for
said
the...
$49.50.
Yeah.
That's $40
okay.
off. So the Cube Pro C is capable of printing down to just 25 micron layers with speeds of up to 175 millimeters per second using both PLA and ABS material as well as PVA support material.
What is?
Oh,
what is
please!
PVA?
That is one thing with the Cube Pro that I hate right now is that they use PLA for ABS supports. It doesn't work. They need to use high impact polystyrene for ABS for the supports because it works 100% better.
Well, and now PVA, if they can get PVA to work as a support material, PVA is water soluble, so you won't even need. You don't even
have to buy the weird stuff.
Right. Well, because right now with the MakerBot Replicator 2X, that it prints the model in ABS and it prints the support structure in high impact polystyrene, and it works great. First of all, the high impact polystyrene separates really well from the ABS, but if in case there's stuff that you want to dissolve instead of pull off, then you just put it in technical grade delimonene. It's basically it's a citrus cleaner, and
It's the oil from the orange peel.
It completely dissolves the high impact polystyrene. So yeah, I mean, if they can get this to work, I think it'll be pretty incredible. I just wish that they were coming out with it a little bit earlier.
Well,
because it says the Cube Pro C will only be available in limited supplies until they expand production later this year.
Ooh, dibs. Hopefully.
So I don't know if that means that they're just fulfilling pre-orders for the Bot Objects printer first, or if they actually have produced some of the Cube Pro Cs and they'll have some available for sale. They're just going to be really hard to get a hold of, because I'd love to have one. I mean, just like I said, we already have someone who is interested in buying one, and I mean, if they can pull this off, it'd be pretty cool.
I wonder if it's as big as the Cube Pro Duo, or just the Cube Pro in general.
It looks like it. It looks like it's pretty big. It
As long
doesn't
as
say
it
what
doesn't
the
weigh
build.
more. That thing's heavy.
Yeah, you gotta have
can't-
two people to lift that around.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean,
You can't do it yourself.
Safely.
It's just so large.
Yeah, because I'm going to the Bot Objects website right now. I'm wondering if they have. I'm sure they have a big banner saying, "Hey, we've been acquired by 3D Systems."
woohoo! Yep.
Yeah,
Learn more here.
their logo's right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we can find out more about the overall size of the printer, just size and weight. Let's see. It just says it'll be on display.
It's
Blah
affordable.
blah blah. Well, define affordable.
Yeah.
If it's affordable, you want to place 10 orders of them there, Eric?
Nope. Not
Yeah,
with my
no,
money.
I mean this is pretty much that's pretty much the info that we have. We'll know a lot more coming out of the show, but we are actually getting close to the end of our time.
Yeah.
We still need to get everything finalized and packed up. We're going to be heading to the airport in a little over an hour.
Actually, in half an hour.
Okay.
Oh, no, it was an hour, sorry.
Yep.
I want to read these before we go, though. Like, this is what CES says about 3D printing. 3D printing bursts onto the scene after existing for 30 years in the shadows. TCT
Bum, bum,
Magazine
bum.
plus Personalized presents an eclectic lineup of speakers covering the breadth and depth of this fascinating industry, from medical miracles to revolutions in electronics, from hands-on hacks to entirely new business models. And the three topics they're going to cover are how 3D printing is disrupting business models, getting access to 3D printing without a 3D printer, and 3D printing is going to change the way you shop. They had something else. I don't know if this
I've
one...
heard the first two topics covered.
It's
I don't know
very
if this one's
ambitious.
funny or not.
I mean that's very optimistic. I mean
More power to
3D
'em.
3D printing is great. It just I still think it gets oversold a little bit.
That means a lot coming from you too. Like, you want a 3D printing, reseller.
Well, yeah, but it's more people think, okay, everyone's going to have this in their home. We're just not there yet. I mean, industry, yeah.
We
it
tell
absolutely
you how it
makes
is.
sense.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
not going to
no,
sugarcoat it. I mean, we're not going to buy an XYZ printer and sugarcoat that stuff. I mean, we're going to tell you how it is. That's my best as a pun, by the
Yeah,
way.
this one doesn't.
wow.
I didn't even catch it.
Good.
I'll have to
Not
catch
bad.
it when I re-listen to this. With the advancement of the digital technology supporting it, 3D printers are moving towards more compact units with affordable price points for today's consumer. With jaw-dropping demos, you'll see the future of printing come to life on the show floor.
I'm getting so close to a sneeze.
I know, I'm
Oh,
trying
I was
to hide
like-
all my
I just-
electronics so it doesn't...
I was wondering, like, if you saw something weird on your screen.
No.
Yeah, so TCT has that to say.
All right.
Nick Cannon, if you guys see Nick Cannon,
we are not going to
tell him I don't like his show.
Hi, Nick.
He's
Just
there.
so you know,
He's
Eric
there.
doesn't like your
He's
show.
there for some reason.
I don't know.
Wilding out is not funny, man.
Well,
silly.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up. My nose is about to. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening to this episode of the Fargo 3D Printing Podcast. We'll have a lot more for you next week on CES. So to make sure that you don't miss it, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to us on iTunes. Connect with us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus. If anyone uses
Did you
Google
say
Plus,
Pinterest already?
Pinterest, yeah, that's there too. So social, you name it, we're probably there. So just look us up, Fargo 3D Printing. So on behalf of Jake, Eric, and myself, thanks for listening.
See you later. Sorry, if I want chocolate on my bread, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
You know, using the Nobel Prize winning blue light LEDs,
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
Sounds like a Billy Mays.
Billy Mays here
Blue to green
with another
technology.
exciting
Well,
technology.
This is the part I love. It's safe as they're mixing the resin chemicals.
Yeah, is there in a white room or a clean room?